Hey, my name is PolishLynx. Welcome to another episode of Driftwood, the visual novel. And we've got the lunch. Well, actually, I don't have the lunch. I only have the tea. And, well, we are going to probably know the trick how to make Ellen cooperate in the project with us, so hopefully it will succeed. Okay, first we need to get that secret, okay? So, part of me feels like this is some trick indebting me to Yuko, or perhaps she is just nice enough to watch over me for my first few days. Either way, I don't really want to be babysat or made into a pack mule, but we'll see how things go. Eating inside today proves to be a good decision due to the fact that it started drizzling a few minutes after I got my grilled cheese. Ellen must have been staring off at the clouds out of view from where I was sitting. Fortunately, it doesn't seem like the clouds loom overhead for too long, and by the end of lunch the sky is already clearing up again. Alright, ready? Yuko is quite the stalker apparently, having come into the small common room the moment I swallowed down the last bit of my sandwich. Yeah, sure. She gestures for me to follow, venturing to the room to the left of Mr. Mallard's, which is the only room in the area I haven't been inside yet. The interior is like taking a step back in time. It gives me of this 70s or 80s feeling. I like that room. The wall is covered with a massive blackboard that has seen decades of abuse with yellow tinted chalk. Old knickknacks, ranging from plastic brand new name dolls to science projects, litter every corner of the room. I really like this classroom. The only thing clean is the tables, which are made of black granite and they seem to give off a little twinkle. Across the room at the furthest table is a red-haired girl with glasses. Her hair colors clash with her uniform, but she looks surprisingly cute. Yuko leads me over to her and smiles eagerly, happy to help the two of us make acquaintances. Carrie, this is Marcus! The red-haired girl glances up from her laptop computer to quickly look me over. You're the new guy, right? The title makes my shoulders slump over so slightly. It gets a little agitating when I'm known as someone, let alone just as the new guy. I guess it only makes sense. Yeah, Marcus fake. I extend my hand out very gentlemanly-like, only to have her raise a fist upwards toward my knuckle. Instinctively I react and curl my hand to a fist, bumping it to hers in a smooth rhythm. It's a nice change of pace from shaking everyone's clammy palms all the time. Kyrie Andrel, nice to meet you. They really have weird surnames here. So, what's up, Yuka? What do you want? Well, Marcus here has a project in social science with Ellen. Kyrie nearly rolls her eyes, as if annoyed by the prospect of having to help anyone, especially with Ellen. Alright, and? Considering you're the only person who really talks to her, I figure you could act as a moderator for the two, so they can actually get some work done together. Shh, I feel like I've made a bad choice there, asking her for help. Yuko gives Kyrie a helpful little smile as she leans closer, trying to assure Kyrie that it's a good idea. Maybe hang around with them while they are working, so Ellen's more comfortable. Ellen's a hard worker now. She just doesn't feel super comfy in class with everyone being so loud and obnoxious. I can see why Ellen would dislike that. There are a few loudmouths in the class that never seem to shut up as long as Mr. Martley isn't lecturing. Sure, that might be the case, but the fact still remains that Marcus here has a project with her, so maybe the three of you could just talk about it. Outside of class. Kyrie leans back into her chair, giving a look towards her computer to Yuko and lastly to me. I offer a casual smile in the hopes she understands my plight. Alright, but only because Marcus seems like a cool dude. She grins and I feel at ease with the situation. Yuko on the other hand gives Kyrie a look insinuating distrust, but it quickly fades and she turns to me, smiling cheerfully. Glad I could help. I'll see you around, Marcus. As she leaves, she gives me my arm a gentle squeeze, making my body tense up slightly. Once Yuko's finally gone, Kyrie lets out a small hoof of air and I turn my attention back towards her. Sorry about that, I don't mean to be so reliant on people. Kyria shakes her head, laying her arm down on the table beside her laptop. It's perfectly fine, don't worry. I exhale a small singular chuckle, happy to know that I'm not being a leech to everyone. Alright, cool. Kyria makes a tsh noise by pressing her tongue against the back of her teeth and breathing out gently as she coughs. Something wrong? She glances over from the door and shakes her head. Yuko just annoys me. How so? I can't deny the fact that I love hearing different people's opinions on other personalities and personas, or maybe I just like the gossip. Personally, from what I've seen so far, Yuko's really sweet and helpful. Maybe even too helpful. A tad showy, perhaps. Yeah, and from what we've seen before, she actually likes to talk behind someone's back. But let's face it, everyone does that, to be honest. About some people at least. So yeah. She's uppity. Oh. How is Yuko talking right now if she's not in the room? And holds a grudge pretty bad. Huh? Really? Yeah, get on her bad side and it's hard getting her to cooperate with anything. Like with Tyron. Boy, these two. I laugh quietly and shake my head, not wanting to push that subject any further. It happens, but anyways, you are friends with Ellen. I might as well just be titled Ellen's friend. Kyria crossed her arms, squinting her eyes in annoyance. Yeah, Ellen and I are close friends. She seems really nice, just super nervous. Kyria gives me a dull nod, as if I were stating something obvious. Yeah, she's got social issues. Personally, I hate talking in large groups. I always feel like the third wheel. Know what I mean? I know what you mean! Totally understand you! Everyone's got their own thing. I nod in understanding. Can you suggest a way I can get her to open up a bit? Treat her like anyone else. The simplicity of Kyria's answer leaves me a little blindsided. Doesn't everyone else do that though? Everyone might think they do, but subconsciously they treat her differently because she's so quiet. Oh, I see what you're saying. It's hard to treat someone as normal if you know they aren't normal, so the challenge is just telling yourself that they are normal. Kyria pauses, biting down her lower lip a few times as if chewing at it. Then again, I have no idea. I'm not a psychologist. It's just that we're so close, Ellen might as well be my sister. Maybe we can work out something after school to get some of the project they're done for you too. Kyria shrugs and looks up towards the entrance of the room with a keen eye, watching it as it opens. Staring inside is a white paneled leg, followed by a white clothed torso, followed by scruffy black hair and faintly tanned skin. I know who that is. It's the one and only. And he spots the two of us and quickly raises his hand up, confirming an E with his fingers. East Side! What? Hi Matt, I'm surprised you've actually been showing up for math, that and one early. Kyria has a rather mocking pressed tone to her pretty, yet slightly tomboyish-like voice. Hey bruh, if I'm going to pass this year, I actually have to show up. That's usually the case for most classes, isn't it? I joke, grinning up at Matt, who takes my joke with a light-hearted slap to the knee. You meet this kid yet? He's great, wicked funny. I don't think I cracked very many funny jokes, but thanks. Kyria glances between the two of us for a moment, something ticking away in her head. You two look like siblings! What? I jerk my head back to look at Matt, raising my head and lazily pointing it in his direction. What? Strangely enough, Matt mirrors my action. She grins at our coincidental reactions. You must be twins separated at birth! What? Yo, that's just gross. I would eat my twin in the womb. There can only be one. I don't see the resemblance at all. Yeah, Marky boy. What class you got next? I purse my lips and pull my back up onto the table and dig for my schedule. I've got math next. You're in here with us then. What do you have after that? Chemistry. Damn. Don't got that with you. So basically it looks like classes are mixed. Like completely mixed. I don't know how this works. Like you can have math with 5 people, but chemistry with 5 completely different people, right? Something like that. Don't know if that's a thing in other countries, but it's not a thing in Poland for sure. Right before I can say anything else, an older guy walks in who I can only assume is our teacher, so I sit down beside Matt. Math is complete drunk and Matt frequently yells out random numbers, which in some cases are the correct answers. Our teacher is a grumpy old guy who already gives me the vibe that he hates my guts. I understand, man. I understand. Surprisingly? No, actually not. But in my university, I might say the math teacher was quite similar. At the first semester, actually. The second was completely different guy. But at this first semester, the professor is what we call them. Was old guy and quiet, annoying guy. And yeah. On top of that, chemistry ends up being a total bore fest and is halfway across the school, away from the rooms I'm used to and with no one I recognize. The teacher doesn't even bother introducing himself to me. The only good thing that came from today was being able to convince Curry to try and set up a meeting for the project, so I guess that's all out of it. Class finally ends after hours of note-taking and going over homework, which I was fortunate enough to not be around due to traveling here during the middle of the week. Math has never been my strong point, so I can take care of that, I guess. Nor is it something I really enjoy, and the chemistry teacher was just a terribly boring speaker. Well, I enjoyed math until high school. In high school, well, it was more of an annoying thing. Chemistry never was a fun, to be honest. I try my best to make it out of the school, but without any holdups, wanting to get back to my room and relax a bit, but my plan is interrupted. Someone's palm rests at my right shoulder, trying to get me to turn to face them. Luckily, it isn't a teacher or faculty member who wants to have a word with me, but instead it's Curry. Hey, how about tomorrow after school I help out with the project? Sure. What's the plan? We could work in my room. I think Ellen would be most comfortable there, or anywhere else really quiet. That works, I guess. Alright, cool, I'll see you then. She gives my shoulder a pat as she passes and ventures outside to join the flock of students escaping the building to enjoy their time off. The mixture of a boring chemistry class math I can hardly understand, and walking back to the dorms along the rather soggy grass and pathway leaves my head pounding. At least the weather has cleared up and it's no longer raining. Haha, the garden area of the dorms is clustered with people, mostly in small contained groups. Due to my headache, I'm not really interested in talking to anyone, so I try my best not to catch any unwanted attention, and I leisurely walk towards the front entrance of my dorm. A flash of pink bounces in front of me and I'm stopped dead in my tracks. Hi Marcus! Oh, hey! As much as I want to talk to my well, no, I really don't. How's the guy? Good, kind of tired. May gives me this pouty look as if I were ruining some plan of hers by being tired. Yeah, I was thinking I might just get my homework done, grab some dinner and head to bed early. May's pout forms into a confused and odious contortion of her lips. Come on man, don't do that! It's your chance! I reach up to rub the side of my face, unsure as to what I said that bothered her too much. What? That's no good. How are we going to meet new people if outside of class you just do homework and sleep? Well, I figure I get to know people over time. School just started a few weeks ago. May shakes her head frantically before pausing and glancing to her left. A tall blonde-haired guy figure steps closer to join the conversation. The guy who towers over May offers me a firm nod of acknowledgement before turning his attention down at the pink-haired annoyance of a girl. I'm gonna head class. Across, not class, across. Okay, wait for me. May's eyes dart from the taller guy's frame back towards me, an idea burning up inside her head to the point she blurts it out. Oh, Marcus, you should come with us. Eh? Marcus? He's new. May bounces up and down her heels, as if excited by the idea of having me join the two of them wherever they are going. Oh, he's the new kid, huh? Thanks. He lifts up a first fist towards me, offering his knuckles in greeting me much like Carrie did. I lift my arm up and loosely plunge my knuckles to his, taking the time to give him a good look over. He looks like a mix between a preppy kid and a jock. His hair is cut short and he has a cigarette hanging from between his lips. This is Garbeer. He's a senior like you but has a different homework. The blonde-haired guy's eyes narrow, irked at what I said. It's Garen. Okay. Garen, alright. Call him Garbeer. He gets upset and embarrassed. Garen tenses up at May's obnoxious banter and lets out a deep breath, looking to me with a threatening glare. Don't. I won't. Nicknames have never really been my thing. My reassuring smile does enough to settle Garen down, and he thumps his elbow into May's side. Oh! I'm going cross. You're welcome to call me if you want. The statement isn't directed at May in particular, and Garen's eyes flicker towards me. May quickly recovers from the elbow and smiles excitedly towards me. Come on, you can do homework later. Should I go? That's what I would do. Alright, sure, well, I'll go. The homework I had really wasn't that much anyways, and walking around and enjoying the rest of the day before it gets dark might be a remedy for my headache. May gives a happy grin at my answer and quickly bounces off towards the path back to the school. I look to Garen and he shrugs, pacing after May and forcing me to follow his lead and walk with the two of them across the school campus. For you know, I might have ended up as a third wheel here. The whole trip May runs on and on about how much she dislikes her classes and how hard being a freshman is compared to 8th grade. It's a little unnerving hearing someone say being a freshman in high school is hard, considering it's probably one of the easiest academic years of anyone's life, at least around this part of the country. Really. Once we make it off campus, she shuts up about her classes and focuses more on trying to talk with Garen today. Sorry about that. I think like my last year in high school was actually the easiest. I don't know, maybe because I was most like concentrated on actually passing everything. Up Island General's convenience store. We are back here. So Marcus, what do you think you're going to do when you graduate? I think I'm going to try and get into photography school. I paused the steps of the shop. We're about to enter, thinking over what May had just asked. The question strikes me bluntly. I've been so wrapped up with coming to the new school to just finish senior year, I haven't bothered to even look up any colleges or think about what I want to do in life aside from my hobbies. I've never really given it much thought. I guess something involving video games or something artsy like writing. You write? Not very much, but I like creating concepts of stories. Ah, that's cool. I think you might have better luck with gaming, if you mean making them. Writers are too hit or miss, especially when you have crap like fanfics getting turned into movies. Yeah. I note as we step inside the small convenience pharmacy store Matt and I had walked by earlier. The smell of the store reminds me distinctly of my stay at the hospital, which brings on the memories of why I'm here to begin with. It's not like my past is something that I want to forget, but the whole experience of protecting Michaela and treating Death has left its wounds in my mind just as it has on my body. It just kinda sucks. I wouldn't know about that. Best to think about what's at hand instead. I watch as May and Garen scan through the small aisles of the store and pick up things they needed. May buys a box of hard candies that will probably make a bunch of noise when she eats them, and Garen buys a pack of cigarettes. Honestly, I'm not really a fan of smokers. The smell of it always makes me gag, and I've always thought it was a huge waste of money figuring how much they cost a pack. When it comes to that, I don't smoke, and I don't really intend to. I don't see a reason for it. But the difference is I actually like the smell of it somehow. But I like but I also like the smell of petrol, you know, obviously. But I guess that's a common thing for men, at least. On the other hand, I really hate when someone starts smoking near me. Weird, isn't it? Whatever. Garen doesn't share the same viewpoint, nearly throwing out $10 for a single pack. I'm sure he has the money for them. Yeah. Also, the prices are high for that. And I really don't see the reason to smoke. But that's just my personal view. They finish buying their things and we all step outside, where Garen immediately lights up a cigarette from the pack he just bought and brings it to his lips with a contented sigh. I sit a good distance away and make sure not to be downwind, avoiding smoke in my face. May does the same, plopping down beside me. So, how do you like it so far? This question is going to keep coming my way over the next few days, I'm sure. It's probably best I come up with something simple but informative enough so they don't ask me really vague questions afterwards. It's been good. The classes are a little longer than I was expected, the lunch is okay, and the people seem friendly and open to helping me out. Classes are longer because there are only a handful of teachers in the school. Half the time I feel like the school's a joke. Hey? What do you mean? Garen raised his eyebrow at me, as if curious as to why I didn't get what he meant. Well, I mean, come on, we have uniforms, but they aren't mandatory to wear. We don't have any sports teams or any place for sport-related things, and yet we have dorms. May paused, shaking her head. Yeah, but you can still go to the public school and they have all that stuff. Regardless, the point is this is a private school that has the same, if not worse facilities than the public schools in Massachusetts. Yet we are supposed to be one of the best in the state. It's laughable, really. There is really no reason to come to this school unless you are staying in the dorms, which fortunately hardly costs any money. I think you're just being a pessimist. Maybe, but it's true. Garen gives a small shrug and looks towards me as he takes in a heavy breath of the contents of the cigarette, breathing a soft billow of smoke that drifts off into the wind. All I can say is that it's surprising how high quality the dorms are for the amount of money it costs to stay in them. Seems a bit underpriced. I think it might be a way for parents to get their kids out of the house so they don't have to worry about them. I glance towards May and Garen's eyes follow. It takes him a second to realize my sly joke, but he grins and nods his head. Perhaps. May doesn't catch it, going way over her head as she chews absent-mindedly on her candy. Garen's eyes stare towards me for a time and I feel like he's trying to figure something out about me. Saviron? You're not from around here, right? You didn't go to the public school for your first 3 years, did you? No, I'm actually from Boston. Garen raises an eyebrow slightly, as if this has deepened his interest. Boston, huh? And you're 17? Yeah. Hopefully this doesn't turn into 20 questions again. Interesting. And you come to this school because... It was mostly my parents' decision, I don't really know why. I blatantly lie, not really wanting to talk to them about the fact I was the person who was mentioned on the news a few months ago in connection with a series of shootings. Garen looks at me with disbelief, seeming to know I was still telling all of the truth. Alright. He goes silent for the most part and May continues on with her banter, talking about her classes and a little bit of gossip about some of the kids at the school. I blank most of it out and just stare out at the street, watching as cars drive by, some of which are filled with students still in their uniforms on their way home. And Yuko is apparently going to start dating this year. What? The mention of Yuko brings me back into the conversation and I glance towards May with interest. Eh? She's open for dating people now. Eh? She's never gonna date for anyone, most likely because of her parents and her being a snob and not wanting to waste her time or something. That doesn't seem like the Yuka I met. Maybe she was just focusing on more important stuff like schoolwork. May purses her lips and shrugs, on to return to chewing on her candies. I think her parents just didn't let her. She's really flirty with some of the guys at school. Define flirty. I'd say it's more like being slutty and leading guys on to liking her without her even sharing the feeling. I think you're just mad because the girl has never been interested in you. Garen rolls his eyes, standing up as he takes one last puff from his cigarette before tossing it into an ashtray nearby. Yeah, well, I'm going to get going. Garen starts to head off back towards the school, hand stuck into his pocket. Maya pops up to her feet and offers me a hand. Yeah, we should get back. I take it and hoist myself up, only to have May give me a little yank forward, coaxing me along. Surprisingly, the small conversation we all shared has helped get rid of my headache. I guess that's something I'd be thankful of May for. The dorms are quiet tonight and no one seems to be doing anything interesting. And outside of my house, they decided to cut some grass right now and it's fucking loud! God damn it! Only a small cluster of people are hanging around the TV room watching a rather boring and overrated movie. I take to my room and let the silence of the night help with getting what little homework I have done. By the time I'm done, my eyes feel heavy and I'm exhausted. Why did Matt have to wake me up so early? I set aside my work, only notice that I have a message on my phone. It's Michaela. How are things? Just seeing her name makes my stomach churn. I'm partially disgusted. How are things? No hello. No seeing if I even had the same number. It's been a few months without talking and she just opens her with how are things, as if nothing happened. That bugs me. I don't know why, but it bugs me. I toss the phone carelessly away out my desk and slump over to my bed. I flop down with an aggravated sigh, staring up at the ceiling as I think over the possibilities of what I can say in reply to the text. Or if I should even reply at all, maybe it's the best I don't. Write something like, "It's better here than in Boston." I would say that. I would probably write that. Maybe I can just let my old life in Boston die off. That's what most of my friends have done, figuring they have all seemed to forget about me once school started. It just gives me more of a reason to try and actually make some friends here, people who I can learn from and rely on. Why not? I truly have nothing going on aside from the possibilities the new school has to offer me. I close my eyes, letting the mix of frustration, anger and dim hope settle me into troubled sleep. And English again. Today was rather uneventful, thankfully so. I didn't get the best sleep last night and, well, didn't feel all too great today. Mostly because of Michaela's text, but at least a lot of people seemed to notice and didn't bother me much, which was thoughtful of them. There of course was the occasional greeting or introduction, but no one really piqued my interest too much. Mr. Mallard even seemed to give me a break. He didn't really bother me during our study period. With my last class of the day coming to an end, I have this rather empty feeling of what I want to do with my free time. There wasn't much homework assigned today too. We were supposed to do a project, all of it's fairly easy and mundane, aside from the paper I have to work on with Ellen. Hey man, you doing anything? Apparently I've been staring out the window for the past few minutes and Eric has caught on to my aloofness. I was just wondering if you wanted to hang, you seem a little quiet today. Eric taps his finger against his chin as if trying to figure out what is wrong with me. Lunch gave you an upset stomach, it was a little too spicy for me. Thanks for the info. Nah, I'm alright, just thinking a lot. Homesick or something already? Not really. I scoff at the idea of going back to Boston and going through the brain-numbing days at my old school. Well, you wanna hang? I'll be down to chill, but I need to go talk with Ellen about the project. Oh, right. He pauses for a moment, reaching up and rubbing the back of his neck as if thinking over the situation. Good luck, bro. I'll talk to you later. See ya. After packing up all my things and heading out, I find Carrie waiting outside at the front of the school. It's a little hard getting close enough to speak with her due to the flood of people and parents coming in and out of the building, but eventually I'm able to call out and get her attention. Why there are parents? Is the school like not only for people from high school but also younger and so on? Because that would explain to me at least, the parents being there and entering the school actually. Hey Carrie. Carrie, I don't know. Sorry, I didn't mean to take so long. She offers me a dismissive wave. Her casual and laid-back personality strikes me as strange for someone of her type. Maybe just the glasses, but then again, she isn't wearing her uniform today either. It's alright. So, I talked with Ellen about the three of us working on the project and she said she thought it was a good idea. Carrie's report actually adds a bit of a springy to my step and I smile. Awesome to hear. I was worried she might not want to talk about it out of class. Carrie chuckles and shakes her head. I know it's probably frustrating for her to speak up in class over the background noise. She does have a very soft voice. It's cute, don't you think? Yeah, I guess. It is. Claire smirks at my station before looking towards the pathway leading to the dorms, then towards me. You got everything you need to do, or do you need to pick up anything? I'm good. Got in my bag already. Claire gives a nod and turns, making her way down the pathway towards the dorms. Having been silent, Carrie pipes up once we approach the elaborate wall that surrounds the pathway to the dorms. So, most schools don't usually allow people to hang out around the other gender dorms, but the school's so laid back the faculty really doesn't care. I think it's mostly that they can't really enforce it because of the budget the school has. I see. Makes sense. I guess what it comes down to is that the faculty of the school trusts the kids enough to know they won't go around engaging in shenanigans. Rules are meant to be broken, so will crimes be committed if there aren't rules? I think a good deal of teenage mischief is just because kids want to defy the man. The other half is, well, human nature, I suppose. Everyone's jacked up on hormones from puberty and all. Maybe. That's how I've always looked at it, at least. I've never really been a troublemaker. Same here. After a routine walk back and fro, I've become accustomed to I'm left in wave. Stepping inside the dorms is like walking into a parallel universe. The buildings are practically all the same, but they have subtle, vague differences, mostly the color of the walls. It also looks nice inside here. Carrie leads me up in the direction I would usually take to get to my own room, and by fluke chance it ends up that we have the same room number. I'm in the same room in the other dorm. Carrie blinks a little and chuckles, amused by this coincidence. Really now? What are the chances? Does the feminine version Matt live next door? I point towards the lockers and down the hall, where I suspect the gender band equivalent of Matt resides. Want to meet her? Carrie grins from ear to ear, then seeming entertained by my comparison. Well, sure, I guess. Yeah, come on, it'll be fun. Going out of my way to meet someone isn't really part of my plan to get this paper down, but if Carrie insists... She reaches over, giving the door a few gentle knocks. No one responds to the knocking for the first few moments, but eventually the door creaks open. Pressing out from the door is familiar green-eyed girl with dark hair who peers curiously at me, and the door screams a small smile for me on her lips. Okay, that's definitely not other version of Matt. Carrie was pulling my leg, it seems. Ellen is certainly no Matt equivalent. Hey, about ready to start working? The usually nervous girl gives a small nod, looking to me and speaking in her soft-spoken tone, only to nervously peer back towards Carrie as if for assurance. We're still going to work on music history, right? I offer a ring smile, hoping she'd believe me. That's the plan, unless you don't want to. She beams back, an excited little smile coming to her face at the prospect. I'd like to, yeah. Carrie grins and gives Ellen a gentle pat on the head. I know you've been taking notes, since that's all you've been talking about lately. Go get them and join Marcus and me in my room, okay? Okay. She nods again and disappears behind the door. Carrie redirects her attention back to her own room and I follow. Whoa. Now that's some room. Carrie's room is surprisingly clustered. The walls are filled with posters and she has a good amount of furniture and accessories. She has a desk, drawers, a night table and a low-lying table, one of which resting between a pair of comfy-looking floor chairs. Atop the desk, she has a desktop computer and a TV set up on the lower table. You've got quite a setup here. Carrie moves over to her computer desk, lazily flopping down the chair that spins ever so slightly as she sits. She scoots towards the table in the middle of the room. Yeah, I like to indulge in my habits. Help me set the room up a bit. Sure, I give Carrie a nod, helping her shift the room around a little so we have a table to work at. Ellen comes into Carrie's room with a small folder. holding it tightly to her chest, as if she was worried someone would steal it or try to read it. Like it was a secret diary or something like that. She quickly takes a seat at the table, setting down the folder before shuffling about in her sweatshirt, as if she has an itch, or is just antsy. I feel kind of bad. She's probably uncomfortable with having to be around anyone out of class, let alone working with them. Then again, she may just be socially slow, I guess only Kyrie really knows, since she apparently actually talks to Ellen. I sit down in the opposite chair and settle my back down onto the floor. I take out a few of my things before offering my own notes on the subject to her. Trade? She hesitantly looks to me for a moment, unsure of what I meant, so I gesture towards the folder on the table. Her eyes follow my gesture and she nods in approval, pushing the folder halfway across the table before reaching for the notes I offer. And you know, now that I think about it, actually forming groups that way, the way it was made in here, is a good way. I mean, you don't always end up in the same group, so you can actually get used to different personalities and so on with talking. It's important. Alright. Claire looks between the two of us with a jolt of laughter. Hey, why not explain the notes in person so we can both have a better idea of what the other's saying? That was the whole idea of this, right? I blink at this idea and look towards Ellen, who looks mildly and amused by Claire's statement. What would you prefer? Ellen gives me this confused, helpless look. Her jaw drops ever so slightly as she struggles to figure out what to say that would best fit her interests. She looks down, pouting at the fact the whole situation is now revolving around her now. I don't think me asking what she wanted was a good idea, or even shifting any attention in her direction was too smart. But I don't want to be the only one making decisions, so it's a complication that must be resolved, at least for this paper. I'm cool with whatever you want, it's not a big deal. Her eyes shift up towards me, looking relieved about the fact her choice wasn't going to upset or change anyone's plans. And he keeps getting his eyes out of her. Come on, man. I think I'd like to just treat over what we have. To ourselves. Yeah. Carrie slumps in her seat and gives Ellen a disapproving look before grunting out. Ellen! This quickly changes Ellen's mind and she squeaks out in her soft-spoken voice like a mouse that just stepped into a trap. I mean, we can talk about it if you want. Want me to start? I don't think jumping back and forth between Carrie giving Ellen a hard time and my accepting the fact she might not want to really talk is going to work, so I might as well get the ball rolling. Okay. Carrie just watches from a distance, then a little smirk making its way across her face before she turns to look at her computer. At the very least, having Carrie close by seems like enough to keep Ellen from bolting out of the room or stuttering like crazy. Carrie may just be the antidote for Ellen's antsy personality when it comes down to it, so I have to thank her for the help, even if it seems like she's not being much use. Regardless of this thesis, we are here to work, not fix Ellen's social issues. So, I figure we have a few more topic ideas, and I'm cool with any of them, so it's up to you if you want, but here's the ones I came up with. So my first was the history of music during the 1980s and 90s, with rappers who portrayed the low-income, oppressed and drug-trafficked life on mostly the West Coast and how they've influenced artists in our time. I'm saying no to this. Ellen seems pretty unresponsive to that one. I don't blame her, she probably doesn't listen to rap music at all. Same here, to be honest. I don't mind it, but I don't listen somehow. I figure we can check off the ones you're not interested in, so no to that one. You mean like Eazy-E and NWA? What? Nothing. I'm not sure what's more surprising, the fact she knew some of the artists I was referencing to, or the fact she may listen to it. I coughed to clear my throat. You listen to rap? Her green eyes gazed at me for a long moment before she giggled softly, a little bit of a blush forming on her cheeks, this time more so out of embarrassment than just plain shyness. Her eyes dart away and she tries to explain herself. Well, I don't really listen to it, but to understand music you have to get a good taste of all of it. Even if it doesn't fit your taste, you should at least try to see what the message and spirit is that the artist is trying to portray. Oh, even if the message is a little silly. Ellen pauses for a moment before speaking in a very hushed tone, reciting a song she knew. Cruising down the street in my 6'4", jocking the bitches, slapping the hoes. Oh man, who would expect her to say this? Ellen takes in a deep breath and then goes silent again, having shown more personality in that one lyrical sentence than she had the entirety of knowing her thus far. She might be the most interesting person in this whole game, you know? I can't help but laugh, which only makes her blink and look worried, as if I was laughing at her in a negative way. What's so funny? She may not be completely hopeless, not that I really thought that would be the case to begin with, but I had my doubts. So, you do listen to that genre? It takes her a second, but she does open her mouth again, casting off the embarrassment from rapping aloud. Of course, every genre has different roots, and they all make up the... She paused for a moment and paused, as if embarrassed by where she was going to with her sentence. Well, they all make up what I like to call the tree. Huh? The tree is the artistic taste, the reason for us to make music or to paint. So, each genre is a root or a branch to the basis of what we like in art, why we enjoy it, and to understand the tree as a whole. You have to learn how the roots or branches work and how they connect with the overall picture, huh? Ellen nods, happy to see that I get the idea. I've never thought of it like that, but you're right. But I'm not really a fan of it personally. I think Kyria likes it though. Heh? I glance over at Kyrie, who raises her eyebrow at us. She grins, catching up on the conversation in her head. Don't quote me, boy, cause I ain't said shit. Eh? What? Kyrie's tone reminds me of Matt, which makes me grin. Kyrie and Matt were perhaps the real separated twins. We take the next few minutes to talk over various topics, revolving around different genres of music. Rock, pop, country, dubstep, and EDM, and other outlying branches like Zev and K-pop. Ellen ends up knowing about almost every single one, but doesn't show very much interest in them, answering with simple shures and shakes of her head. Huh. What about classic music? Maybe that's what she's into. I only have one more genre written in my notes that I have a slight idea about. Well, how about classical or orchestral? Ellen mentally smiles, and I feel like she knew this one would come up eventually. She's been waiting! Okay. Aside from her enthusiasm and excitement, the answer okay doesn't really answer my question. Any suggestions as to what we could do with the classical music? Ellen gently pushes her notes across the table towards me. This time, Kyrie isn't paying attention. I nod and read through what she's written, giving her a break from having to speak. To my surprise, almost all of her notes have to do with classical, and most of them are much better concepts of topics than the ones I've come up with. I smile at her and circle one of the best options in her notes and pass it back to her. She peeks down to see which I picked, and immediately a small smile of approval grows on her face, and she looks rather content with my choice. I'm relieved. It appears that Ellen has her shit together compared to me. I still feel out of place with the schoolwork here, but I'll get better in time. Maybe. So, how about we each do a little research tonight and meet back up tomorrow in class and see what we got? Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Ellen. Ellen nods, takes her folder and stands up. She pauses, looks at me for a second or so, and then scurries out of Grace's room. Bye. I stand up slowly and collect my things before pacing over to look over her shoulder, watching her as she types up a storm. She stops suddenly, spinning in her chair to face me, her lips curled into a contented grin. See, that wasn't too hard, was it? I'm actually surprised how much she spoke. She really likes music. It's the only thing she actually cares to talk about. I have some trouble talking to her about anything else sometimes. Heh. We share a smile of solidarity. Kyrie looks to my pockets, reaching over to grab a fancy cell phone on her desk. Say, do you have phone? I should add you to my contacts. Yeah, I do. I pulled my phone out, only to blink at the message that was still there, glaring up at me. How are things? Frustrated, I make the effort of opening the message and closing it so the message isn't labeled as unread. Carrie tinkers with a few options on her phone before handing it over to me. Put your number in the new contact. I add my number and label myself as Marcus before handing it back to her. Within a few seconds on my phone buzzes and I get a new text message from an unknown number. That's a lot. I add the number as Carrie to my contacts and stuff my phone back into my pocket without another thought. I look towards Carrie and at the computer over her shoulder. I'll send you some people's contacts later. Cool. I'd really appreciate that. No problem. Carrie reaches up and offers me her fist again, which I bump in return. This time she retracts and she wiggles her fingers in a playful manner. What? The sheer sight of her fingers wiggling makes me laugh and she grins at me. Never seen that one before. Ha! It's pretty swag, huh? Swag. You talk like Matt a bit. Or is Matt talking like me? Fair points. I wouldn't know. Haven't been here long enough. She nods her head and leans back into her chair, just peering at me with a self-justified look, fingers tapping against her legs. Anyways, any questions before I kick you out? We share a look as I think over what I really want to know. Why is Ellen so shy? What's with the computer? Oh shit! God damn it. This might be an important choice here. Okay, let's go with that. Risky, but whatever. Whether or not it's rude, I tempted beyond belief to ask about Ellen. I have a feeling she's more than just bashful. Ellen's shyness, is it caused by something aside from crowds of people? Kay raises her eyebrows very slightly at my interest in her friend, but she doesn't seem nearly as enthralled as I do. What do you mean? Well, are there other causes like, I don't know, bad parenting, low self-esteem, some kind of mental disorder? Carrie immediately scoffs, crosses her arms and gives me an aggravated look. Ellen's not retarded! Social incompetence and mental disorders are not the same! Same. I quick wave my hands, trying to swat away the subject. Sir, I didn't mean like that. I was just, stop! No, I don't know. I want to go back actually and get the other choice. I failed to come up with anything more to justify asking the question, and the two of us fall silent, just looking at one another. Carrie eventually shrugs, her eyes straining toward the door to the hallway, thinking more deeply about what I suggested. I've never really thought about it, but she hasn't been diagnosed or told me about anything like that. I take in a deep breath. I am finally finding the right words to describe what I'm getting at. I just think it's a little strange that she's so high-strung and well awkward, but just then she seemed really comfortable talking about music. Carrie taps her chin, making her look like some scientist that is contemplating the mysteries of the universe. Ellen is unique in her own way, just like you and I. So I'll just go with the concept that Ellen is unique in her own way, as Carrie said, just like me. Carrie nods slightly and crosses her arms, clearly not going into any more depth with what I asked. I take a deep breath and let out a long sigh. Huh. I just hope eventually we can carry on the conversation that's more than just yes and okays. It took me a long while, so just be patient. She'll grow on ya. What do you two do in your spare time? Just talk? She counts on her fingers as she thinks of the things they do together that are worth mentioning. Well, we do plenty of things. Watch TV, anime, play video games, occasionally I listen to her play music. We just hang out. Hey, play music. Tell me more. Her shoulders lift faintly in another shrug before she raises each of her arms over her head and yawns. I should get going soon, but the mention of Ellen actually playing music and not just having keen liking of it piques my interest and her care another shade. What instrument does Ellen play? Piano. She's tried a few others out, but she's best at the keys. A pianist. Now it makes sense why she would want to do the project regarding the classical genre. Cool, I'll have to talk to her about that at some point. Maybe next time we'll get a listen. I smile to ask her at the idea, and she seems to agree, nodding her head enthusiastically. Maybe. I look around the room a final time and turn to leave. I don't want to overstay my welcome. Alright, well, I think I'm gonna head back. Thanks for helping out today. I grab my things and offer her a small wave as I stride to the door with a hint of an accomplished aftertaste settling into my mood. Won't you help with getting stuff back to the old place? Seeing the same room doesn't take much effort. She teases, making me feel a little less indebted to her for asking for assistance today. Still, appreciate it. See ya. Have a good one. Back inside the dorms, I hear what I think is a group of voices I know best. Before I can turn the corner into the dining area of the dorms, I find Eric, who is on his way out with a sudden hand bumping to me and nearly falling over. Whoa, close one. He stumbles back, catching his balance before grinning slyly, as if feeling special for his quick reaction. Lucky I didn't fall into ya, otherwise I would creamed all over ya. That sounds so bad. He raises the can of cream soda before nudging my side and laughing at his own juvenile and perverted joke. Good luck with that paper, bruh. He heads off, leaving me to find Yuko, who is standing in the middle of the hall. Come on. Hey, you! She has an abnormally happy look on her face to see me. Hey, how's it going? Pretty good! She bounces forward from her heels, and I can't help but notice her body strain against the fabric of her uniform as she leans closer. Uncomfortably close. Really? Are you coming to my family's party next Friday after the Harvest Festival? Hey, I'm invited? Yuko giggles, a bit childishly, and offers me a pamphlet, almost waving the paper around like a wand before letting me have it. Of course, everyone's invited. I see. I'm sure I'll be around. I glance down at the pamphlet, using it as something to distract me from how tight-fitting Yuko's uniform is today. It may be that I'm just noticing it more now that I've gotten into the hang of how school works and I'm not distracted by every thing or person that walks by. A short glance reveals that the party is taking place at the hotel that has Yuko's last name. I tend to think it's just coincidence, but a part of me doesn't believe that. A hotel. Ah, my father's. Now that I think about it, I think I've seen commercials for hotels with the name Beaumont. I keep my thoughts to myself then just smile at Yuko. I don't have a way to get there, but I'd love to join you. Oh, that's not a problem. I'll be sure you get an escort. Hey, an escort? How formal. I don't need a suit or anything, do I? Nope, you can come straight in uniform if you'd like. Although it is late at night, so there is really no reason to do that. I give a small nod and stuff the brochure into my pocket. I'll be there then. Awesome! By the way, she prolongs to the word way, which puts me on the edge as if going to the party has been a trap the whole time and there's some sort of catch. My phone number's on the pamphlet, so feel free to say hi or ask any more questions, alright? Alright! I silently sigh out of relief and offer Yuko a nod of appreciation. Alright, thanks, appreciate it. Great, I'll see you tomorrow then. She slips by me, giving my arm another playful squeeze that makes me tighten every muscle in my body. Ciao! Whoa! Whoa! She's definitely trying something. Or she's just flirty like with everyone. See ya. I clear my throat a bit as she departs outside, leaving me with a nervous blush on my face. I really don't understand girls at all. With a bit of excitement dancing around in my head at the idea of going to a party at a hotel that is probably equivalent to 4 or 5 stars, getting my daily work done proves to be easy. I've even been able to bust out a good bit of research for the group paper for Ellen without any halt to my enthusiasm. I take the rest of the night easy, letting the satisfying feeling of hot water streaming against my frame begin into a more somnolent mood, prepping me for a good night's sleep. But as always, the shower's warm waters and eerie silence causes my mind to be rocked with thoughts. It's been about a day since I received Michaela's text. A part of me is compelled to reply, but another part of me just wants to toss the whole thing away and ignore it. Please let me choose. Hello? Let me choose. I will easily delete that message. I mean, I know it was your first love, but come on, man. It was only one date. You can get over it. I believe. Or maybe not. It's not like you were... Well, you were actually in a relationship, I guess. It was one date. And it didn't really end up very good. Huh. Either that or I go about telling her that I'd prefer not to talk to her anymore because of what happened. Now that I think of it, speaking with Michaela on the phone would be half bad, but I still have my doubts with how that would work. I turn the water off, staring at the wall for a few seconds. The answer doesn't come, so I slip out of the shower and get dressed in my sleeping clothes. Once I finish dressing, I find my phone and set it down on my desk, and I give it a strong look, deciding whether or not I wanted to deal with Michaela right now, or to keep ignoring her. Seconds turn into minutes and I'm left hopelessly staring at the screen of the menu, as if staring at it intently will give me the answer I need. You were supposed to put on Yuka's number there. I reach to grab it again, forcing myself to come to a verdict, but the sudden sound of it vibrating against my desk nearly makes me fall back in my chair. I recompose myself and see that my phone has another text. It's Michaela again, but this time it looks more substantial than just how are things. What could she possibly want now? Hey, I'm sorry for everything that happened, and well, in reality I just wanted to see if you were okay. I haven't spoken with you just since the end of school. Please give me a call, or a text, at least, just so I know you're still alive. The sight of the typed words leaves me with a little bit of a strange feeling. I'm half overcome with joy that she at least has the decency to come up with something more human than how are things. But I'm also a little melancholy about what the fact that she seems worried about me, and I've been ignoring her. It's almost like a punch to the gut, and I lean back in my seat, letting the injury soak into my body. A few more minutes pass and I pick up the phone, texting her back with something simple that I will at least delay the urgency of the conversation the two of us should have. I'm alive. Sorry, been really busy. Can we talk on Sunday? Hey, dude! I wait for a few seconds and get a relaxingly calm reply. Okay, talk to you then. The prospect of talking with Michaela about our relationship and letting it die, or perhaps continuing on as friends, is a bit reassuring. Compared to just trying to forget about her as well as ignoring the fact I nearly risked my life for someone who has dropped contact with me. Well, it's also not like you contacted her, but... You know, I think I like this new outcome best. An emphasis on the I think. Alright, let's end the episode here and we'll see what's happening in the next one, in the next day as well. Tomorrow, maybe we'll attend the party already. We'll see. So for now, let's finish it here. It's much longer than I planned to, but well, I don't mind. Hope you enjoyed it, if you managed to stay for until the end, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.